Hey, Cody, how are you today?
Hi, Bonnie. How are you?
I'm doing great. Coming at you from Toronto, Canada, where I know you have loads of fans.
Oh, the Canadian wrestling fan is unlike any wrestling fan. I'm glad to talk to somebody from Toronto at any time. That's great.
Yeah, we got to get you back here after this pandemic is over and come visit your fans. I know we'd all love to have you here, but right now, let's talk about this great show. This is amazing. We're getting it here in Canada as well, so we're very lucky to be able to get it. Go Big Show. Now, you are a man of many talents, my friend, but now you're adding Judge to your resume. So tell us a little bit about this show and why you decided you wanted to take it on.
Go Big Show is not the traditional talent show in a sense that there's no singing, there's no dancing. It really takes that medium and turns it on its ear. These acts are, no pun intended, big, whether it's monster truck driving, gator wrestling, nitro circus ramps, charos. And if it's not a big act, it definitely makes you feel big. For me, with 2020 being what it was, it's so nice that this show is airing in 2021. It's positive. There's a great outlook on it. And I got to share the judging panel with Jennifer Nettles, Rosario Dawson, and of course Snoop Dogg. So how do you say no to that? There was no way. I was packed my bags and ready to go, and really privileged to be a judge.
Well, I was going to ask you about the judges in a bit, but let's get there now that you've mentioned it because yeah, these are great people to be judges with. But Snoop Dogg, I mean, look, we've seen him with Martha Stewart. This guy's really kind of taken a turn in his career with the stuff that he's doing. But tell me a little bit about your relationship with him on the show because I know that Snoop Dogg is also a big wrestling fan. So what was that like kind of behind the scenes? Did you have some good chats?
He was just kind of picking my brain every chance he could about pro wrestling, and I was picking his brain every chance he could about just having become such an entity and a brand and having done it his way. And then he was even able to come and be part of an episode of AEW Dynamite where we got to see the Snoop Splash, the Snooper Fly, as he liked to call it. He's got wrestling in his bones, and that synergy between AEW and Go Big Show, I was so glad to have that and to provide Snoop that experience. And he even changed my entrance music and put his own verse on there, which blew my mind away. So the experiment, the social experiment of being in a quarantine bubble for a production for as long as it was, it really paid off. Rosario, Jennifer, Bert, Snoop really became friends over the course of this. And I'm lucky to have had the experience and to be entertained by these acts that people are seeing on the episodes now.
Yeah, they're really, really cool. And there are some pretty wild acts that we see. I don't want to give away too much because I like the element of surprise for people. But was there something that, when you're sitting there watching this stuff that just completely blew you away and went, holy mackerel, like I can't even believe this person is doing this?
Go Big Show was so good about hiding the acts from us so that we almost every time we're blown away. I know Andrew Stanton, the sideshow artist who hung Rosario Dawson from hooks in his eyelids. Those anything that's involving magic, and then really beautiful overcoming of circumstances like Gabe, the one-armed archer. That blew my mind. I mean, every time. There's, of course, it's a talent show. Some people fall flat on their face, and it's always funny to see Snoop Dogg laughing tears under his Gucci shades. But most acts, 9 out of 10, were out of work because of the pandemic, and they really took their time and maximized their minutes when they got on stage for the Go Big Show.
It's so cool. Now, aside from wrestling, if you were to be a contestant on this show, Cody, what would be your big talent? Can't include wrestling.
I was kind of looking at all the acts and thinking what I could learn and get into. And I think an area that I could have succeeded at actually of all is basketball trick shotting. I took a little offset time after our trick shotter had gone, and I was making them left and right, Michael Scott style. I was making some major shots, and that that made me feel good about my future. If ever Bert or somebody called on me, well, you do it, I think I could have landed it. I think I could have got 100 on the power tower.
I'm Sure, you probably could. I'm not wouldn't think that you couldn't. This also was shot, as you were saying, in your own kind of pandemic bubble. Obviously, you guys had to be very careful, but it was shot in an arena where you wrestled. What's that like to kind of not to be on the other side of it?
I mean, not only is the Macon Coliseum an arena that I wrestled in as a professional, it's where I wrestled in as a high schooler for state championships because I grew up only an hour away from Macon, Georgia. So when I heard that, I know these Hollywood A-listers and this Grammy nominated songstress coming into Macon, they may not know the Macon Coliseum like I know it. It really was surreal. And it was so nice, to not be able to have a crowd, but to be able to have one in the parking lot with the tailgate situation and to do it safely and to do it at a distance and for them to watch the acts in real time like we saw them. It definitely makes me look forward to the potential of a season two where perhaps we can fill up an arena or fill up parts of an arena just because it's an energy that you could feel. And thankfully you can feel it watching at home too.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. It's got that great big kind of circus feel to it. I love that. You have been dabbling in, obviously, aside from the wrestling, but you've done some acting. Now you're doing this. Is this kind of like a conscious decision for you to kind of like you're thinking kind of post wrestling with your career? What's going to be next for you?
I'll always be a wrestler. That's just in my bones and blood. But I've given myself this arbitrary number of 40 years old where I think I'd like to move into different forms of entertainment just because your body can only take so much pro wrestling. And we just announced my wife is pregnant and we're going to have a baby. And I know I want to be able to pick that baby up and not be just an old broken down wrestler. I say that, but who knows? Maybe I'll be wrestling until I'm like 65. I just think it's a natural transition to get into some other forms and dip my toes into different waters and see if I'm any good at it. I was really lucky and privileged to be part of this show and be a judge. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of fun. We look forward to it here in Canada for sure. And congratulations to you on you're going to be becoming a dad. You've got this. I'm sure you've got lots coming up. So thanks so much for your time today, Cody. And we'll be looking for you on air. And hopefully, post pandemic, you'll come back and visit us in Toronto.
Thank you so, so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a great day. Take it
You
easy.
too.